Could ERIKA be a sign of premeditation, or is it something less sinister?
911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No, I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon has been located at this time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger in custody today.
Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Everything is alleged. Hey guys, this is Julez of True Crime Reactions. Let's go back to talk some more about Ethan and Xana. Again, the reason why we went so hard into getting the 1112 King Road camera footage is because we were trying to see if there was anything at all in there that could give us any answers to when Ethan and Xana actually got home to 1122 King Road that morning. Even now, over a year past the plea agreement, and now us going into getting that reversed and hopefully actually going back to trial. We still, with experts coming out to speak and those reports from other experts also coming out in unsealed filings in the court systems, we still have no answer for when Ethan and Xana got home. But there's something else that's also a big mystery about that night, and that's ERIKA. Now, ERIKA, we didn't know anything about until the book Broken Plea came out. And while it does have its issues, it did bring a lot of things to light. And I am grateful that there are more eyes on the case now because of this book. But this is one of those things that we don't really know what to make of it. See, when Chris Whitcomb came out, the author of Broken Plea, out to YouTube and did a few interviews here with content creators, when this section about ERIKA was mentioned, he acted like he was having some sort of qualm with himself on if he should even publish this portion of this timeline or not, and then went on to say that it would be pretty much impossible for us to figure out who ERIKA is. And I'm doing air quotes because in the book, ERIKA is in quotes, as you can see here. Now, there are a few other content creators out here, and I have received emails of photos and things like that think that they have found ERIKA, but that's only if ERIKA is this person's real name. We don't really know. Again, it's in quotes. Now, could it be in quotes to protect someone's identity, and it's on purpose like that in the book because they chose to write it that way? I'm not really quite sure. Chris Whitcomb never really clarified that. But I will also say that I myself tried to FOIA this timeline where this information came from, as Chris Whitcomb claims here on page 232 of his book, that in November of 2023, both the Moscow Police Department and the Idaho State Police put together this timeline. This is just a portion of this timeline. I requested all of the timeline, all 108 pages or so, I believe is what it's stated, and they told me it doesn't exist. At least in the system they're searching in, it doesn't exist, but that's a subject for another video. Hold on now, guys. Before we go any further into today's video, I have to introduce you to today's video sponsor, Cloaked. When I first started looking around to see just where my information was, I started off with just my phone number, and I was thoroughly petrified by just how many websites actually listed my information, but not just listed my information, listed it accurately. You've heard me say 1.5 million times now that all of your information is worth millions of dollars to literally everyone else but you. There are things like brokerage sites that list things like your social security number, your neighbor's sister, people you haven't even had any sort of relationship with in over 20 years, everyone in your circle, anyone that has ever even passed you at Walmart. Okay, maybe it's not that specific, but I think we're getting there. When it comes to actually protecting things like your address, who your relatives are, where you work, your kids' names, your date of birth, information that people can use to literally steal your identity and become you, Cloaked can help you not only make sure that stuff gets erased off the internet, but they have something really interesting which helps you create a persona, a fake email, fake name that you can use when you shop online, so that when these stupid brokerage people go in and buy this information, they're buying not only false information, but information that technically doesn't even exist, because Cloaked help you create a cloak for yourself. Cloaked not only offers you that fantastic little tool, but also has dark web monitoring, will also AI filter your spam calls so your phone is not ringing off the hook with a bunch of robots, but also has a built-in VPN, a password manager, and offers $1 million worth of identity theft coverage. So go to my link, cloaked.com/Julez. That is cloaked, CLOAKED.com/JULEZ. Put your number in. See what actually pops up when it comes to your personal information. This literally only takes a few seconds, and honestly, this is not an exaggeration. The longer you wait, the more your information is duplicated and placed on brand new brokerage sites that are being created as we speak. So if you're ready to take charge of your personal information and not allow these people to keep making money off of your information, go to my link, which again is cloaked.com/Julez, to get 30% off of any plan. Your data, your information is yours. Do what you can. You can only do what you can, but Cloaked can help you do it better. Now back to the video. The reason why this ERIKA message keeps getting brought back up, besides the fact that it's just absolutely left field, and there wasn't just one message. There was two, which means it seems like they were really trying to get it through his head. Hey, you're getting cheated on, which, by the way, is the context of the message. The very first one noted in the book says that at 5:03 p.m., so while he's playing video games, according to stuff we've learned from interviews, before he starts getting ready for the Hunga Dunga formal that he attended with his triplet siblings, both of them, Maisie and Hunter, and before the rest of the night got started, he was getting this message. At 5:03, ERIKA sends Ethan a message saying, "You're getting cheated on. You are." That's it. And then there's nothing else about this until hours and hours later, at 12:43 a.m., right before 1 o'clock in the morning, when we are supposed to believe that they are still, they being Ethan and Xana, still over at the Sigma Chi party. Now that's still up for debate because there's some information that we're still questioning, and portions of the Sigma Chi party timeline is definitely a part of that. But around 12:43 in the morning, we are supposed to believe that they are at the Sigma Chi party, either in Hunter's apartment or walking around the lounge. There's people that claim around 2 o'clock they have photos of Xana at the Sigma Chi party. I believe one even stated she is playing guitar in the photo. I would love to see those, especially with timestamps, because again, we have no idea when they actually got home. And it's really interesting because here recently we have received through FOIA over on Connor's channel information from Reed, who was president of Sigma Chi, that turned in some sort of weird rough timeline draft thingy, and it shows that Ethan sent a Snapchat about 1:48 in the morning from Xana's house. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, and we'll just get to that here in just a second. This video is about ERIKA. So ERIKA sends the next message, which is exactly the exact same thing. You're getting cheated on. You're getting cheated on. Now, the reason why this text, even though Chris Whitcomb has been so shady about it, and even though the Moscow Police Department has denied my FOIA request for this timeline, is because there's been some other things said from other people that really make you question things. One of them being from Peter, Ethan's best friend, Peter. Peter, who had something of some sort going on with Xana before Xana and Ethan became a couple. The one who suddenly is the only person mentioning how there might have been some sort of issue in Ethan and Xana's relationship. See, literally everyone else that we have heard an interview from has claimed that Ethan and Xana were made for each other. They were both the life of the party, that there was no issues, that Xana was so happy. Peter is the only person that has come out and said that there was an issue. And what did he say? He said that at the Hunga Dunga formal, he seemed to have noticed that Ethan seemed a little bit not like himself, not so much the life of the party. So when he went to talk to him, the conversation they apparently had to do with Xana and how likable she was and how many people liked her. According to Peter, it was difficult for Ethan to date Xana because so many people, meaning guys, liked her. She had such a likable personality that it was difficult. So that makes you wonder if it does have something to do with the text messages, because we were not given if Ethan actually responded to these messages. And I would assume that since the message was sent twice, the exact same wording, that Ethan ignored it, or at least ignored the first one. We have no idea if he ignored the second one or not. We have no idea about anything they're not releasing to us. And there's a lot of information. Oh my God, lots of information missing from the pieces of the timeline that were placed in this book. And now with the PCR filing moving forward for the guilty plea to be removed, I don't know if that's going to mean that unsealings stop, that evidence coming out via FOIA and interviews and body cams coming out the same way. Does that halt? I'm not sure, but I'll be trying to find out soon enough. But with all of that being said, we have to go back to question what actually took place that night. Because, again, the evidence does not equal the narrative. And now we have the man who pled guilty now coming out and saying, no, I was threatened, my parents were used against me, and Taylor basically lied to me. And he's trying to get this removed. And I want this to go back to trial. Even if somehow Bryan Kohberger ends up being the guilty party, let's go to trial. Let's prove it. Let's lay everything on the table and let's talk about it for real. But you have to wonder what this actually is. Is it actually even true? Does it even actually have anything to do with reality? Did Ethan and Peter end up having this conversation at Hunga Dunga, if it was actually had, because someone sent a message to Ethan to get into his head on purpose? Was someone trying to drive a wedge between Ethan and Xana that night for a whole other reason? Was it really to warn Ethan, hey, Xana's cheating on you, or hey, she's getting closer to this dude, or hey, something seems off between her and this other person? I don't know. To me, it could be actually a situation, and you have to wonder that because of this little tidbit of an interview.
2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that.
See, that's such a strange comment. That's where it came from.
2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that. We're all.
And see, Jim is like agreeing with her.
2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that. The reason we've agreed to do this is there's some misinformation out there.
Here it is.
And that's been hard for us. And that's why we, as a family, talked about it and agreed to do this, because the things that are being said are 100% not true. There's not drugs involved. There's not some weird love triangle. Ethan stayed the night at his girlfriend's house, who was one of 5 girls who lived in the home. And it's just important that people let the criminal part of it try to work itself out, and that that all of the kids were just really good, great kids.
This was just days after, by the way. But let's go back to now. You could think, okay, maybe there was something, maybe there was an argument, maybe it was a situation, maybe it was a jealous person, maybe it was someone trying to drive a wedge because they wanted Xana, so they were lying to Ethan, or maybe they wanted Ethan, so they were lying about Xana, or, and you have probably heard me mention this more than once, but it needed its own video. Was ERIKA used to lure Ethan away from 1122 King Road that night? How convenient is it that everyone else in the world that ever saw them together and knew them in their relationship never saw a single dark spot? But the one night that they die, Ethan gets these two messages on his phone. Him and Peter just so happened to have this conversation. And something else that has come to light publicly here recently was that someone out there has a video of Ethan arguing with someone in the background, in a fight argument with someone in the background. And apparently this person gave this information to the police, and the police are acting as if that information doesn't exist. So much so that this person themselves even went in to request their interview information, the report on their interview, the interview itself. And they're being told it doesn't exist, about something that this person literally encountered herself. This was talked about in this live right here regarding all the FOIA messery that's happening over here by Connor. Most of you guys know Connor as someone who has gone in and gotten thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of FOIA information from the Moscow Police Department and posted it here on YouTube for the public. He has been in contact with this person. I have seen the conversations, the screenshots, the proof that this stuff has been closed and denied. And we will be getting into it a whole lot further in a live very, very soon. But you consider all of these things. You consider the weird text messages. You consider the fact there wasn't even supposed to be a party that night and they don't even know how they got permission to have it. You consider the fact that law enforcement is aware of a fight between Ethan and someone and is lying to the person who sent it in as a tip about it even being talked about with them in an interview. It's all very strange. So, was there maybe really a situation going on? Maybe. Or was this something that was being used to try to get Ethan out of the house that night? Ethan was the biggest threat. Everyone knew that even though Ethan had his own apartment, he was always going to be at Xana's. So did this person know that the only way that he could not be there was to lie to him about something to do with his relationship with Xana so that he wouldn't want to sleep in the same bed as her that night, thinking that something was actually going on? Maybe if this goes back to trial, we'll find out. But for now, I want to know what you guys are thinking about this down in the comments. And thank you, Cloaked, for sponsoring today's video.